everyone, my name is Жанна Бугибаевна and welcome to my course. Today we are going to talk about past continuous. So let's look at this sentence. I was walking to the train station when you called me. So in this sentence we have also past continuous and past simple, but today's lesson is about past continuous exactly. So here you will learn the form, the common uses. There are exercises to test your understanding. So this sentence, I was walking to the train station when you called me. So the form is, I was working, you were working, he, she, it was working, we were working, you were working, and they were working. So if you look at this, the form is subject plus past form of verb to be. Here is to be was where, you know, the second form of the verb, and plus ing form of verb. Here is work plus ing, walking. So we call it here to be auxiliary verb, this part, and the second part is a main verb. So main verb is here is walk, so walking. So negative form of the sentence. I was not walking to work when you called me. Here we add on the not between auxiliary verb and the main verb. I was not working, you were not working, he, she, it was not working, we were not working, you were not working, they were not working. And the form is, look at this, subject plus past form of verb to be plus not. Yeah, here is a new word here, and plus ing form of verb. Here's working, the main verb plus ing. So contracted form in negative. For example, this kind of sentences, yeah, I was not working. So the contracted form of this sentence is I wasn't working. You weren't working. He wasn't working. She wasn't working. It wasn't working. We weren't working. You weren't working. They weren't working. So here we use apostrophe. It's N apostrophe T. The apostrophe indicates that we omit the letter O. So wasn't working, weren't working. Okay, clear? Next question form. Was she walking to the office when she called you? I was working. Was I working? Were you working? Was he, she, it working? Were we working? Were you working? Were they working? The form is past form of verb to be plus subject plus ing form of verb and the question mark. Yeah, that is important part of this sentence, the question mark. And it indicates that it's a question form of the sentence. So to be was where here in the first, then it's followed by subject and ing form. Question form 2. Here, the example, why was he shouting? So here is the question word why and plus the question form, question sentence, yeah? Another example, where was she working? Where also the question word, and was she going? It's a question form. And the third example is what was he eating? Here in the first, here's the question word, and second part is question form of the past continuous. So question words are, you know, what, where, why, who, and how. These words are question words. The form is question words plus past form of verb to be plus subject plus ing form of verb and the question mark followed by question mark. So Long actions in the past. To describe a long action in the past that started before a specific time. And the long action is continuing after a specific time. So what does it mean? What do you think? What describes this? Yes, you are right. So this is the uses of past continuous. The first usage is we describe a long action in the past that started before a specific time. And second usage is the long action is continuing after the specific time. Okay? So let's give examples. Yesterday at 8 a.m. I was eating breakfast. Yesterday at 8 a.m. it is a specific time. I was eating, it's a long action. Okay? So let's look at the chart here. Here's a present, future, and past. So yesterday 8 a.m. it's a specific time. And I was eating, it's a long action. So this I was eating started before the specific time and continues, is continuing, yeah, after the specific time. Okay, here it's shown here. So let's give you another example. It can be clear for you. At 3 p.m. he was working. So here 3 p.m. here is a specific time, yeah, and he was working. He starts, for example, before the specific time and continues after the specific time. Interrupted long action in the past. So we use a past continuous to describe a long action in the past that is interrupted by a short action. We use the past simple for the short action that interrupts it. So here's an example. I was walking to the train station when you called me. It was the first example. Do you remember? You called me. It's a past simple. Yeah, I was working is a past continuous. We use past continuous to describe a long action in the past that is interrupted by a short action. We use the past simple for the short action that interrupts it. So for example, I was walking to the train station when you called me. So do you remember this first sentence of this example? So here you called me, it's a short action that interrupts the long action. So here is a call and it interrupts the long action. The past continues. I was working, for example. So here is a call and here is a long action. Okay? Clear? And here, in the process of working, when you call, the call interrupts your working. Or we can change the order. For example, when you called me, I was walking to the train station. So we just change the order. So here is a form when plus past simple. When we use when, it should precede by past simple always, not present continuous. Okay, so here when you called, comma, I was walking to the train station. So another example, I was living in London when I met Jane. Or we change the order. How can we change the order? What do you think? When I met Jane, I was living in London. When plus past simple. You see here. Or while I was living in London, I met Jane. So we can change also the words, for example, to the while. Yeah. I met Jane while I was living in London. When and while, here's the same meaning. While plus past continuous. After while past continuous, but after when we use past simple tense. Okay? We use the past continuous to set, that is describe the scene in a story before the real action starts. We use the past simple for the real action. Okay, here this you can meet such kind of tense in a story, in a book, in a fairy tales. For example, Superman was walking in the park, a family was playing football, and dogs were barking. So here's the scene of the story. It means it's the background of the story. So not the real action is started. And the sadly man ran towards him. It means the real action started in this story or in this book or fairy tale, okay? So we use here past simple, but at the background we use past continuous. So plus always to describe annoying habits in the past. So we use the past continuous with always, with the word always, to describe annoying habits or annoying repeated actions in the past. That is in a negative meaning, maybe some feelings, yeah? For example, nobody liked the manager. He was always shouting. So here we describe the feeling, or we are judging, yeah? So here the word always comes between the main verb and the auxiliary verb. So second example, David was always smoking. Also we were judging, yeah, and the was and smoking, between them, here are the words always, okay? It's a negative meaning. So several actions at the same time. We use the past continuous to describe actions that happen at the same time. So we talked about two actions that it is interrupts the short action, but here at the same time. For example, while Mark was washing the car, Jane was reading. So both parts are in the past continuous. Claire was painting while I was cooking dinner. So do you here see the difference between the short action and their continuous action? Before we said about it, but now we're talking about two actions, continuous actions, yeah? It is divided with a comma, okay? Claire was painting while I was washing. Non-continuous verbs, but some verbs do not have a continuous form. Most of them are called stative verbs. So list of common verbs that do not have a continuous form. So here is a verb that comes only in a simple tense. For example, the chocolate cake was nice, I was wanting another slice. So these sentences can be incorrect. We cannot say wanting. We say I wanted. For example, the chocolate cake was nice, I wanted another slice. Okay? So I think you've learned much from this lesson. Thank you. See you next week.